Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here today to share another thought with you. This one comes from the little book in the Old Testament called the Book of Lamentations. Now, I've shared from the Book of Lamentations before, and maybe you remember some of those thoughts. But this is a passage, a part of it, I've never shared from before. You find it in the third chapter and beginning with the 55th verse. It reads this way: I called on your name, O Lord, from deep within the pit. You heard me when I cried. Listen to my pleading. Hear my cry for help. Yes, you came when I called, and you told me, do not fear. Lord, you have come to my defense. You have redeemed my life. Well, Lamentations is a book written by the prophet Jeremiah where he's lamenting. He's not complaining, but he's feeling sorry about different things that have happened. And here in this chapter, once again, the author, who would be Jeremiah, says, I called on your name, O Lord, and I called from deep within the pit. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that Jeremiah said, I called on the Lord when I don't think it got any worse. In other words, whatever it is that caused him to speak out, it was pretty big. It wasn't something frivolous. It was in the midst of great despair. Now, I don't know. I've been discouraged, and I've been really discouraged. I don't know if I've ever been in the midst of despair. I've never I never needed to talk to a counselor about depression or took medicine. And if you have, that's fine. I mean, my goodness, if you're there, get help. And if that's where you get it, terrific. Some people think they can get it in the bottle, but that actually only makes it worse. But, I don't know that I've been as deep down as Jeremiah here. But wherever it is, it's pretty far down in the ladder of discouragement. In other words, it's about as lousy as he can get. And he says, I called out to the Lord. And what did he call out? Listen to me, God. Hear me. And that's like you and me. When things are not working out like we had hoped or thought or even seemed positive. A lot of life is negative. Oh, I'd like to think there is none. And I'd like to tell you, oh, you're going to be a Christian and everything's going to be hunky dory. But I can't tell you that. Well, I could tell you that, but it wouldn't be true. I mean, some things just aren't going to be pleasant in life. We live in a sinful world, and in a sinful world, bad things happen. Sometimes they're really bad, and sometimes they're even way beyond that. So wherever you are on this continuum of life, think about Jeremiah, who's not way up here, he's way down there. And he says, I called out to the Lord, and he listened. He heard me. And what was the first thing that the Lord said? It wasn't, hey, I'm going to fix up your mess, or I'm going to get you out of this pickle, or don't worry, help's on the way. I can see it right now. What he said was, do not fear. Now, if you've listened to me at all, you've heard me say that a lot because God says it a lot. And why does he say it? Because fear paralyzes you. You can't see anything in the midst of fear. And if it's one of these really fright things, you can't even move. They call it a fright response. And you're paralyzed for a bit. And you can't think about making a good decision. And sometimes people get so discouraged and so despaired, they fear there is no hope. Well, they say there is no hope, but there is. And so what we see here is the Lord saying to Jeremiah, don't be afraid. It doesn't matter where you are and what's happening. Don't be afraid. Now, I know that's easier said than done. And I certainly understand that. But so does God. And if we will lean on him instead of, as in other places, our own understanding, we will begin to have a reason to seek hope. He goes on to say, Lord, you have come to my defense, and you have redeemed my life. God will respond when you call on him. But you got to understand that the first thing he's going to say is, stop fearing. And while that's hard to do, maybe it's easy to do. Because the first thing that comes with fear is the thought that I don't know what to do. Well, good. You don't have to know what to do. God does. And let him work in your life. Now, I don't know how that manifests itself specifically in your situation. But I do know that there is no situation where it can't manifest itself. I don't really know how to communicate other than what I've been trying here and other times and places, but how to communicate the greatness of God. And even though your situation seems like there's no God around, doesn't mean he isn't at work in the midst of it. All we have to do is reach out to him and look to see what he's doing. We have to open the eyes of our heart, not just the eyes that we see through physically. Now, like I said, I know that's easier said than done. But if you're at a point in your life when you're not sure there's any hope for anything, why don't you try it? Why don't you try calling out on God? I mean, after all, if you're at the point in your life where you can't think of anything to do, well, what else are you going to do? You might as well try this one. But at the same time, it's important to recognize you're trying the right thing. So please take a little while, think about your life, whatever it is, and call out to God and hear his first words, whatever the situation, however bad it looks. Don't be afraid. And once you conquer that fear, then you can see God working in your life. Try it. I would recommend it highly, but not just me. So does Jeremiah. Thanks for listening. If you have a need, give us a call. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet it. Until tomorrow, have a fantastic day. And I'll be back to share another thought, and we'll see what else God is trying to tell us. Thanks for listening. You take care.